the third youngest pole starter in Premier Class history in about 4 years. KTM winless in 2 years, winless in the dry in over 3, and we are racing in MotoGP here in Japan. It's a great start from that second place on the grid. The nose of the world champion as they grab the front brakes into the first corner. Vinales gets it once again. It's Bagnaia who gets the lead early on here, just as he did in the sprint yesterday.
And just as he did,
to get squeezed off onto the green paintwork coming out turn 9. Martin launching a radar there. Martin in a Marquez beat sandwich now as they power out of turn 10.
Through on Marc Marquez. Jack Miller came from 14th on the grid, and he's now up into the top 6.
At the back end of this opening lap, we're on board now with Bastianini, who was inside the top 3.
And so another double DNF for Joan Mir as Bastianini has a moment there on the way through turn 1. So
turn 5, I don't think he's going to be close enough this time around, although just slightly wide there, wasn't he, going at HRC, down and out of the Grand Prix, just as he was in the sprint yesterday.
Of course, what is going to be key through this race is front tyre temperature and front tyre pressure. It is a kind of...
He's into the first gear, turn 10 goes Acosta, now Bastianini. That's why Bastianini is so eager to get on with this.
Jack Miller just braking as late and ready, and Bastianini knows he's got to do the same quickly if his hopes of a podium finish aren't going to slip away early on.
And Pedro Acosta then, second time in 24 hours, and there'll be no victory, no maiden success for Pedro Acosta as he tucks the front up into second place. He started this Grand Prix in the middle of that 4th row in 11.
At the very same corner, and Martin took advantage through into second place. Bagnaia's lead is...
He's had the speed for a double victory. He's had the speed, the pace, and now crashed out of second place in the main Grand Prix. Heartache.
Chief Championship rival is now the rider immediately behind him in the race, and this might well have been 5 points potentially behind Bagnaia at the end of this race, or losing 5 points. That would keep it 1.5 ahead of Martin, who did a personal best himself last time around.
And that was Acosta just sweeping through the picture. On the inside, maybe it's coming from a long way back is Marc Marquez with the classic block. Any immediate pressure behind him now with Acosta down and out. Has found a 1:44.5
in the 1:44s. Binder did a 45.3 last time around, losing. Ducati of Marc Marquez is pulling further and further away from us, and Binder went a little bit wide, making this first couple of corners look like he's riding the video game on easy mode.
Yeah, it's again the aero slicing in there into the back of Marc Marquez. Is the fastest rider on circuit, 1:44.461, 4:10 on your race leader, in turn 1.2 clear of Marquez.
44s, he was actually quicker than Bagnaia last time round, but Bastianini's got to claw himself up onto the tail quicker than he passed the previous one.
Well, Jorge Martin has had 18 Grand Prix victories, 80 MotoGP, already halfway around this lap 7. Martin has found
them out at the top of the screen. Binder took 3/10 himself out of Marc Marquez, so I think it was over the course of 2024, 7 Sunday wins already, generally into the reigning world champion.
This Bagnaia just slacking off ever so slight. Just out of shot, then goes the world championship leader. I think just Hadix, he's having a good fight at the moment with Morbidelli. Top 10 to Bezzecchi, Aleix Espargaro, Fab 10th place. Another disastrous start and first lap for Vinales, who plummeted from the knees charge. Yellow flags out in the second sector. Can't see anybody's now. It's at Augusto. They've still got Acosta running in this Grand Prix, but he's already crashed out of second at the final corner. And now
it's all about squaring the corner off and just firing it out on the exit and trying to leave that Ducati. They're currently 3 seconds off the race lead, doing 1:45s. The top 2 are doing.
Yeah, he got in hot there as well, Bastianini, looking back from Binder. You could see he was well over 200 kilometres an hour from 6th down to second gear. Just lost it. And then now, hard on the power out of turn 2. One of the several vicious accelerators.
Who wisely there, having a good look behind just to stay well out of the way of this battle at the front. He doesn't want to get involved with. I guess he might now be having a look at what he could have won this afternoon. He's staring at the leading group, which he was in before he crashed.
Pedro Acosta crashing out of the lead in the sprint and then dumping it out of second place in Acosta to his cost so far this weekend. Yesterday, Lewis, he said
I mean, we'll only know, I guess, later on when we hear from him just how hard he was pushing to try and match the early pace of Pecco Bagnaia. Material now, because he's out essentially of contention in this race. He's running around in 19. He might
into that turn 11. It's the most ferocious braking zone around this Motegi circuit, but just not on the money like the competition around him. He's let Bagnaia
in clear air is able to do 45 zeros. Bastianini up behind Binder's doing 45 6.
Yeah, I mean, Binder and that KTM, we know how good the RC16 stock is costing Bastianini at the podium. Trying to find a way through now on the inside at turn 9. He has on the rear tyre as well as he just tried to squeeze the power on, tried to get the drop.
Martin is just chipping away at this. It was 9/10 of a second when the lap began. It's now dealing that Bagnaia is just keeping that lead at a sort of margin that he's happy with and making sure that he Nakagami race direction is waving the white flag. Riders are now allowed to stop bikes. Some
fans are going for the ponchos or the rain jackets. It is getting a little bit grey. Oh, very much so. We're going to keep a very close eye skywards. And Bastianini then finally has found a way through it. White flag then is waving. At the moment then, you can just see there as Bagnaia goes. 6/10 of a second was the gap, sorry, between Bagnaia and Martin as we started this lap 10.
Where that rule comes into play, you don't have the white flag, you don't have to change bikes in a full dry race, only Martin, you just do whatever Pecco Bagnaia does if this rain gets heavier.
That's exactly what he's going to do. As Marc Marquez said, in Mazzano when it's raining, you follow the locals, and this time Jorge Martin will follow him straight in. There is no way on planet Earth that two Bagnaia powers the factory Ducati. We're coming up to the halfway step. 0.8 from Bagnaia, 44.9 on the previous lap. Martin has no 2.6 seconds behind the Martin. At the moment, Marquez struggling to get himself back in those.
6-1 last time around as he now slips back into what you imagine, subject to any flag to button point, isn't it? That the lap times are still holding very steady in the 144s. So
turn 10 all the way down to bottom gear, first gear, 70 kilometers an hour, and then you start winding up through those hills, drop off the edge of a cliff. Into turn 11 we go. Advantage Bagnaia. Through the victory corner we go, where Pedro Acosta saw his hopes disappear when he crashed.
Moment, Bindo having lost that place to Bastianini back in the 46s. Let's see what his lap time is this around. Was also doing 46s last time around. That's why he's now behind Morbidelli and Bezzecchi. So
in terms of the Japanese manufacturers here in the Grand Prix of Japan at the moment, we're only on lap 12, so the Yamaha and the Honda's over a second a lap off the pace. It's in 50. He's closing in though on Ralph Fernandez on the Trackhouse Racing greens to see with Bagnaia and Martin are still upright and on two wheels, but Maverick goes the factory Aprilia. That's not what Bagnaia came for. Front.
He secured yesterday. Bagnaia just edging away a bit now once again from Jorge. 5-0 for Jorge Martin, which is hardly slow, but Bagnaia was just keeping his
very much going the way of Bagnaia, who's on course here to have taken 14 points. Phenomenal job here at damage limitation. 4th from 11th in the sprint. But I think if you'd have said to him when he was chewing a face full of gravel at turn 9
Brad Binder has upped his pace a little bit after that poor couple of laps where he was in the 43-second buffer over the Italian pair, so he can keep his pace where it is at the moment. He should be safe in Antonio on the last lap, and he's now under pressure from Aleix Espargaro.
Yeah, a whole clutch of riders in the 44s and keeping himself comfortably clear at the front of this Japanese Grand Prix. We've got 1 second between Bagnaia and Martin. 2.8 then back to Marquez. Got the Martin on that previous lap.
Yeah, the battle which might start to boil. Another quarter of a second out of Marc Marquez for the first time since he cleared Brad Binder. Bastianini first sector because he's lost 7/10 to the beast.
Yeah, he's made a mistake. Well, it's just crept up to 1.4 seconds. Everything that Martin, at the moment, very much in the ascendancy once again is Bagnaia.
I think we're going to start to seconds up the road from this pair. Marquez yesterday was the attacker rather than
podium to try and make amends for the big blunder when he was charging towards a bit more margin after a crash in Manalica, which you feel put
has given up on any hope of salvaging anything from today, of course, with the race now starting to much.
That is a bitter pill to swallow, isn't it, for Pedro Acosta. Pole for the rookie start, crashing out the lead in the sprint. The victory corner goes Pecco Bagnaia. He's finally back in the 1:45.6 seconds. These two are miles clear of anybody else. Marquez 0.3. So Marquez has regrouped after his big mistake at turn 1.
Part of all the different lap times the riders set through the Grand Prix. I quite look forward to seeing one of those for Pecco Bagnaia in this race. 5-1 right on cue. Here it comes. The 44.5, his personal best on lap 4, and then look at that Gibbs race pace looks like.
Well, if only he had the consistency to match the speed, eh? That Pecco 45 flat. That is metronomic pace, isn't it? Let's hope that all we have is sunshine here and not any more rain spots to hit with Bagnaia. Bagnaia doing what he has to do. Just make sure he keeps 10.
Yeah, I think if you asked Jorge Martin yesterday morning, tell him you can get out of from the World Championship leader. This is Jack Miller, whose race has kind of gone in the other direction after what we're looking to take away that 9th place. Last time around, Miller was doing a 46.6.